sports. We are back, 11 o'clock hour. We're even in a little bit early, right before 11 o'clock. There you go, 30 minutes of commercial-free local sports talk radio coming at you. And what better way to kick it off than with our guy, Coach Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. Coach, we had to skip last week, but we are so glad to have you back. How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. It's good to be back. Hope everything's well.
Same with you. Same with you. Okay. I know things are well as it pertains to a couple of the All-Stars that have been named. I actually, funny enough, was in Sutter Health Park getting ready for a River Cats game, and me and the rest of the production crew, we were watching ESPN, or well, I think it was MLB Network, when they were naming everybody off in the control room. And when they named off Jacob Wilson, everybody started cheering. Let's just spend some time. I feel like we talk about Jacob Wilson all the time, but when you're doing the things that this kid is doing, there's a good reason. Talk about Jacob Wilson and his All-Star, not just All-Star appearance, starting in the All-Star game.
I mean, that just goes a long way to show what the kid has done this year. Rookie starter for the first time in a long time for the A's, and being able to get over the likes of like Bobby Witt and stuff like that. That's a testament of what he's done early in the year and for the most of the season. I mean, it's a special talent. The kid can hit. He's done a lot of good things, and sky's the limit for him. So it's a good honor for him to go out there and play amongst the best, because he was and is amongst the best this year so far.
Let's go to the other All-Star now. This guy, a bit of an unsung hero. You had some, and I was in the same building when he got signed. You had some signings that happened over the offseason, and maybe some of them were pressing a little bit. We talked about Lawrence Butler and guys starting to come around. Felt like we, as much as we talked about Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz, felt like we didn't talk about Brent Rooker enough. And here Brent Rooker is an all-star as well. Has he kind of been, is that kind of apropos for this season, a bit of an unsung hero?
Yeah, I mean, he's a pro, man. He's figured himself out in the last couple of few years with us, and now he's just the middle of your lineup guy. That's what you're going to expect from Brent Rooker. And I'm glad that they voted him in this year, because I thought he was snubbed last year for sure. And now he's recognized across the league as one of the best hitters and run producers that we have. So um, hopefully, he's a lot more recognized than he's supposed to be, and he's gone out there and he deserves this honor. That's for sure. Feel like I lost somebody. figure out. You know what I mean? It's he signed up for it. He came in toward the stadium and knew what it was going to be about.
Mhm.
But it also isn't the big leagues. You know what I mean? And I don't blame him at one bit. It's that the reality and the facts are it's not a big league stadium.
Mhm.
But that being said, he signed up to come up here. He knew what he was getting himself into. He's going to figure it out. He's got too good of stuff. Got too good of an arsenal. He's been too good of a pitcher for many years to not figure it out. And he's going to help this team win. What he said, he was just being honest with himself. I mean, does it look bad? Sure, it sounds bad, but at the same time, he's one of those guys that, he's going to go out, he's going to take the ball every fifth day, he's going to compete for you and give everything he's got.
Talking to Coach Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. Coach, it feels like we've gone through a couple waves here. You had that win streak a little while back, and then you had the losing streak. Now you're kind of sitting in that, you're 4-6 your last 10 games, and it feels like you're trying to get over the hump. You're playing better baseball, but still trying to get over the hump. What's the feeling in the clubhouse as far as, okay, this is closer to maybe who we are? We still want to be better, but the ebbs and flows of the season, are there some things to feel good about here?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. We're playing better baseball collectively as a whole unit. We're pitching better. We're playing a little bit better defense. Our offense has been there all year. You take away that big losing streak in the middle of the year, or earlier on in the year, and we're right where we think we should be, playing close to 500 baseball. That's what kind of our goal was, and trying to still, end up better than we were last year. We're going to have to play a little bit better after the break comes back. But, this team, like I said, I've been saying, has a big run in them still.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to have to go right. Our offense will be there. We'll play better defense. Our pitching will get there. We're going to get in a big run here and end the season where we want to be and where we should be. And yeah, is it disappointing? It is right now, but we still got a lot of time to figure things out and to continue to teach. You forget about our roster. You forget when you look at our roster, how young we really are.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point, our whole team this weekend were A's draft picks, except for, I think, maybe Langoliers, who we acquired in the trade. So you look at that, and with player development and scouting, I mean, you're proud to see that the whole team out there on the field were A's draft picks. And then you look at our roster and you see the service time and how many years, a year, if that. Jacob Wilson just barely got his first year. Of how long they've been here and how young they are, 23, 24, 22. So sometimes you got to step back because there's a lot of optimism early in the year and the excitement because we are an exciting team.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do some things, but we're all still very young still, and got to find a way to manage the season and prepare yourself and being big leaguers and going out there and understand that it's a grind every single day. If things go right, they go right. But if they go bad, you got to find a way to get out there and figure things out. So there's still a lot to learn, and not necessarily just on the field, but individually as players of how to be a big leaguer.
Talking to Coach Eric Martins. And speaking of figuring things out, Coach, we talked about this dude robbing home runs. How about him hitting them? Denzel Clark hit a ball that I'm not quite sure has even landed yet. Talk about Denzel and what he's kind of maybe what you're seeing and the coaching staff seeing as far as what he's figured out at the plate. Is it just he's feeling more comfortable? What are you seeing from our guy in center field and at the plate?
Yeah, that ball hasn't landed, and my ears are finally starting to come back because it was so loud. I mean, this kid is obviously, you see the talent in center field. He's figuring some things out at the plate. This kid does not really know. I mean, we know how strong he is if he just squares up a baseball. But, fortunately for him, he's able to make these adjustments here in the big leagues with our big league coaching staff. So that's one of the things that we're fortunate about. He goes out there. We don't have to really worry about his defense. But if he can just find a way to be a little bit more consistent at the plate, you see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he squares up a baseball, it's nothing like it. I mean, it's to all fields too. So, but that home run that he hit this weekend was loud, was far, it was short, it was direct. I mean, he had another at bat. I think it was on Sunday where he turned on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball in and hit it for a double. So you're seeing the progress of Denzel Clark. You're seeing the progress of his path and him being a little bit more direct and finding a way to make more contact. So it's fun to watch, but it's also scary to think about if this guy figures it out on the offensive side of the plate.
Coach, he reminds me of, and I know he's not skinny per se, but he reminds me of, you remember that term? I never got called it. Remember when they would say, guy, and maybe you still say it, remember guys were wiry, right? And they would just kind of have that crazy pop for no reason. He reminds me of one of those guys. He's just a wiry athlete.
You hit it on the head. You see this guy in shorts and his legs are so defined. That goes to the fact that, his mother was a Olympic track star and the workouts that he does, but he is strong, and he is wiry. You look at him and it's like, okay, you see the length. He's so long. He's so lean. And he's got that lean muscle mass. He's got them square shoulders where you can see that he can also probably fill in a little bit more as he gets a little bit older. But I don't know if you want him to. But no, he's definitely strong. He's powerful athlete. That's for sure. And the way he works out like one of those guys. But he is a strong kid. But you look at him up close, you're like, huh, this guy's pretty special. So.
Coach, you got the Braves coming to town. One of these teams, and there are a couple of them, the Braves, the Orioles, teams that just haven't really lived up to expectations, but still a scary team if they can get rolling. What do you have to do tonight and the next couple nights during this homestand to be on the right side of things?
Yeah, they're playing better baseball. They started off, they struggled early in the year, and they're playing catch-up as well, but they played better baseball over the last month or so. It's a talented team. You look across that line, you got Acuna, you got Michael Harris, you got, a couple of former Oakland A's were Matt Olson and Sean Murphy and shortstop Nick Allen, and they pitch well. So it's a good team. You're forgetting, the talent that they have, and we just got to go out and play our game. We've shown that we can compete with any team in this league if we play baseball the right way, offensively, defensively, and pitch. So, it'll be a fun series for our guys because, like I said, we've got a couple of former A's players on that team. But, we're on a stretch right now where we want to finish this first half strong, get into the break, and get some momentum going into the second half.
Coach Eric Martins, good luck tonight and the rest of the homestand. We'll talk to you again soon, and great stuff as always, Coach.
All right, man. Good talking to you. Miss you guys.
Coach Eric Martins, we miss you too, Coach. So great stuff there from Coach Eric Martins. 2 All-Stars for the Athletics. Jacob Wilson, shortstop in the American League. This is what I'm saying. Look, and yes, we asked him about Luis Severino, but all that stuff aside, all of that they're going to be, this is baseball, right? And right now, I know the Kings, there's a lot of talk, right? But, and some leagues about to start, I get that. But this is prime baseball season. And in West Sacramento, about what? 12 minutes from my house in the Toe. So if you're in Natomas or wherever you live, you might be an hour away from watching the hottest shortstop in the American League.
All of baseball.
Bobby beat out Bobby Witt Jr.
Who's that schmuck who's starting shortstop for the National League? He's got nothing on Jacob Wilson.
Absolutely nothing. Brent Rooker going to be there as well. It's in Atlanta. I'm trying to finesse my way out there, by the way, but I'm running out of time.
Francisco Lindor, who cares about him?
So this is the positives. We can sit there and talk about all the awkwardness and who said this and who said that. This is the good side of it. You're getting to watch a stud. And if you watch him, the way he bats, it reminds me of Hunter Pence in that if anyone saw that, they would say, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, you'd just be like, what is happening
here?
Right,
but when you hit, I would imagine, I think at Grand Canyon, he might have been in the 4s. He might have hit 400 at Grand Canyon. If not, he was damn close.
I'm sure in high school he was probably in the 4s and 5s.
Who's going to tell him to change when he's hitting 500?
Which is almost a throwback in a way. Like we were, gosh, I can't remember who was talking about trainers. Maybe it was LeBron was talking about having trainers and how like authenticity in the game has changed just because you're not out there just experimenting with stuff. Jacob Wilson's kind of a throwback in that way, and baseball probably has more variance because of things like swings and defensive styles and things like that. But Jacob Wilson is unlike any player you're going to find in Major League Baseball for a variety of different reasons, one of which is his funky swing that leads to batting 350, which is, I think, right now second in baseball.
Yeah. So great stuff from Coach as always. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is just to, and I believe that most Sacramentans are doing a good job of it, is just enjoy it, right? If you want to go, go. If you don't want to go, don't go. It's, again, I think the theme of today's show is just simplicity, right? It's just simplicity. And as we talked about the Braves coming to Sacramento today, and I would assume, Kyle, they are way under their win total. That'd be, or on pace for their win total.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, they're, last I checked, they were fourth in their division. I think they're third now because the Nationals have kind of fallen off, but
yeah,
they've got to be way below what they were expected.
So you have that win total. And as we switch over to the Kings and those win totals, we wanted to kind of give people, I think, hope on